Atlanta's in the house. What? Welcome everybody to Limar. Take your cell phones, put them on the YouTube channel. What? Truth and Transparency. Is that what we're working with? Yeah, I think that's right. All right, guys, we're gonna slow it down. Wait, you know what? I think Wes will play one more song for us. I think one more song would do well. Do you have the song? I think it's like a Mary J. Blige family.
Family Affair.
Yeah, you have Family Affair up in here.
Yeah.
What? I'm too sexy for this motherfucking tent. These titties, what? Huh? What? Whoa! Where you at, fam? Let me see you. I know you guys got your lights on every fucking night up in this motherfucker, and I don't see anybody's lights on tonight. I'll pay the bill. I know if you guys need the money, I will pay the bill. What you need? What?
You want me to cut it?
No, I want you to blast it.
Oh, blast it. Okay, yeah.
Let's work it out, fam. We got a problem. I will work it out. What? I'm gonna get you all drunk tonight. What? It's free.
Oh, shit. What? Alright, you can cut it.
Alright. I think we woke up the haters. I think we woke them up enough. Alright. Those of you guys that are joining me tonight, it is the live premiere of my podcast. I am promoting, I've never done this before, but I am promoting live tonight my first episode of season 2. Aliquippa, you guys are on blast. But I'm here to protect you. I'm going to do all I can. I'm going to hope that you guys work with me. Let me hear you, neighbors. From the showers to the windows. Somebody's sweat is dropping somebody's what? I want to thank everybody that helped today. First of all, if you are not here, that does not mean you did not help. So I'll see you guys out there. Thank you so much. Wes, I do want to thank you for driving 186 miles to get me pregnant. Thank you. Cheers. Your girlfriend's gonna be like, fuck. Like I said, I've never done a live like this. I literally have a live audience. It's not like my bedroom. So, have you guys been following along? Sunset Secrets. Have you guys been following along?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you guys feel about it?
I love it.
Do you think it's accurate? Is it accurate?
I think it's a fact.
Is it accurate?
Yeah, it's fact.
It's facts, right? Facts. Hashtag facts, motherfucker. I'll say it.
Period. Period. And I ain't talking about marriage.
I'm talking about who got their period tonight. What? How was the food tonight? I know you guys are just going straight for the alcohol, but how was the food? Anybody? I want to give it up for the 20 twins. Where they at? If it wasn't for them, it would be still al dente. So, thank you. A special shout out to Canadian Mama. One of my loyals flew from Canada to come to the States. I don't know why she did that, but I'm guessing it's because of me, but I want to say thank you. I do. Thank you, Canadian Mama. Hey. I also want to give a shout out to all the love in Ambridge and Aliquippa, all the students and kids that came out today. Thank you so much. I see you guys. I am live, so say whatever you want. Let it be known. Let it be known. I'm gonna do a dance off to start it off. You think I'm playing? I ain't playing.
I'm in there.
All right, I want the two best dancers in Linmar at this moment. I'm gonna play two songs. Ja Rule, Back That Ass Up. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna play. All right? And then we are gonna vote on this shit because this is a democracy and we vote. We're gonna really talk about how jurors vote for that shit. You vote guilty, you vote innocent, you vote acquit. You vote for that shit. So tonight we're gonna vote two songs. The first song is gonna be Back That Ass Up. The second song is a mystery. So who would like to join? I just need two people. The winner gets $100 cash app.
I'm up in there.
What? Cash app. Cash app gets them every time.
There go another one. Come on, Clea. Get up in here. There we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
What? Yeah, don't swallow me.
Hey. Okay. Okay, are we ready for this?
Well, what we gotta do? What we doing?
Where the fuck you come from?
You know I had to come from Ohio. Like, come on, Lena.
I know you came from somewhere.
Where's the music? Let y'all down, right? Okay, I guess we can't let y'all down, right?
Otherwise, I mean, you saw her crying and shit.
Right?
Nobody can let nobody down. All right, Wes, I need you.
Yes, we is. I gotta
Yes.
bring my power.
Okay.
Let's get the. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. What?
Come on. No, up there. Come on.
Okay, well, we hold on. We're going to take
Here, but you don't need to touch anything.
No, I need to.
We're going to help you.
Come here.
We're going to help you take care of those.
Up here. It don't matter. Look at my boots. I'll take these off.
Oh, what?
And
What?
I'm gonna dress up. Man, I'm trying to win this.
What? We're trying to win what?
One.
Why do I feel like crying? I just love people who love to help people.
What?
That's how I feel every day. Look at my life. Look at this. We clear out the dance. Oh, here we go. We cleared the dance floor for two people to have at it. All right, Wesley, I need you on the 1, 2. Check microphone. Check 1, 2. I want to know where Natasha Cooper is with Busy. Busy Walker? Is Busy Walker here? Can you walk it out for me, Busy? Or are you too busy getting in your recliner that takes you all day? I'm just curious, Busy. I've been busy all day throwing a motherfucking red carpet while you reclining getting your, I don't know, pedicure on that pussy. I said it. Here we go. We're gonna go with oh what?
We going to sing.
Cooper, come get this recliner. What? Oh, girl, you look good once you back that ass up. Look at what's some ass, yeah. Where you at, Cooper? Where you at, Cooper? Where you at, Cooper? Oh, 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 oh. What? That backstage make you look good once you back that at what? Tell them song 2. Let me see that what? Song 2.
Stop. Now make that motherfucker hammer sound like.
What?
Slide wobbly wobble.
Oh wait, hold up. Hold on. We gotta let Cooper get a chance here. Get up out of your motherfucking recliner, bitch, and get on this motherfucking train that you're trying to run on my motherfucking parade. You heard? Run it now.
Wobble, ass so fat, all these bitches pussies is poppin'. Bad bitches, I'm your leader. Venom by the meter.
Don't forget where's JP.
Tell them pussy clean, I tell them pussy squeaky. Niggas give me brain, cause all of them niggas geeky. If he got a man tango, then I bought him a dashiki. And bust his pussy open in the islands of Waikiki.
She bustin' what? She getting out of that recliner, what?
Famous, cause it's finally famous, and it's finally solved. Yeah, it's finally solved. I don't know, man, get some ass shots, we're off. Bitches ain't poppin', Google my ass.
Aw, shit.
When you Google my ass.
Ass, what?
Putting up my decors, couldn't get Michael Kors if you was fucking Michael Kors. Big Sean, boy, how big is yo? Give me all your money and give me all your residuals and drop it on my ass.
So I got a question here. What? Who's getting some head? What? Those cops out there aren't taking that head. Where you at? Copper chopper. What? Where that Angel, you wanna punch that up? What? Robert's got you on that Angel, what? Where's Sonia Carter? Where's Mrs. Carter? Come on out, Mrs. Carter, come on out. One time, Mrs. Carter, come out of the blue. Jamie Brown coming home, what? Sheldon coming home. Where's Timothy? Patrick, where you at, Timothy? Oh! And Timothy ain't one of these motherfucking problems. What? No, she didn't. Oh, yes, she did. Hold up 1 second. You're telling me Vincent Barbudo, Jamie Brown, and Sheldon Jeter Jr. all had Timothy Patrick on their case? What? Get out of here! What? I don't believe it. Oh, I don't fucking believe it. Oh, you better believe it, because it's true. Oh, that's that guy that couldn't make the shit work in court. He couldn't even press play to get the button to let everybody see what the movement was happening. What? Timothy Patrick. Me, and I want to hear some Missy. Me, and Tim a motherfucking thief.
Girl, I must.
So I want to hear some me, Timothy, Missy, all that.
Yeah. Was that Rain?
Yeah.
I think I have that.
Is that one? Ants? Oh, I don't got no mic. Oh, wait, here.
Can you turn it off?
I got you.
That girl's got to get up on that recliner.
I can't stand the rain. I don't have that.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I know.
Get off that recliner. It's so hard to hit that note, man. Woo. All right, let's run it back one more time. One more time. Timothy Patrick. Me, and Timothy. We be fucking up all these police reports. What? Yeah, Jamie Brown, 2001, involved. 2020, Sheldon Jeter Jr. involved. Vincent Barbuto's case involved. I mean, Savante Gilliam involved. Rachel Del Tondo involved. I think that people need to start talking about me, and Timothy. I mean, what the fuck? You want to talk about some comedy? I'm going to bring it tonight. We have our own comedy show tonight. It's actually the truth, but it's comical that nobody's brought this to light. But I have no problem doing it because I don't fucking live here. I'm just fighting for people. I'm here, no vest on. Here we go. I wish I had that me and Timothy. All right, guys. Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Tonight's episode was 51 minutes. I'm going to do a little something special, though. I will cut up things. I'm going to put it on the big screen so you guys can see it if you guys are watching. Just put it on mute if you guys are around here. It did take me a long time to decide how I wanted to bring season 2 to everybody because there's a lot of information that people do not have. And it's like, how do you get people to get the information? So I was like, I started following Sheldon's case. I was like, what the fuck? But then I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? I was like, this shit is all roped in to one, what the fuck? Then I said, well, everybody's being quiet for a reason. And that usually has to do with police corruption, number 1. Number 2, people are getting paid, maybe by outsiders. But number 3 is that there is no community involvement because you actually do have a voice with numbers. And if people will come together, whether it's $1 or whether it is $20, if your kid gets busted for something, it's like, oh, they had weed on them, but he didn't. You know, it's like $50. You know, just if everybody comes together on something, then the police know that they cannot fuck with you anymore. You have to stick together, though. You have to put your foot down and say that, listen, if you fuck with one of us, you fuck with all of us. Okay? Right? Right?
Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Because truth be told, tonight it's not your son. Tonight it's not your nephew. Tonight it's not your brother. Tonight it's not your husband. Okay, but tomorrow, guys, it will be. That's the truth. Because it may not be today that it's your kid or your son. But if you do not protect your house, like you got to protect this house, then if you just birthed a child like a week ago, in 5 years, in 12 years, your kid is on the block. And if it's not going to be, and guess what? I've been living up here. I stay here. I walk around. You know what I see, guys? I see all these amazing kids playing with each other. They're like knocking on each other's doors like, hey, can Junior come out? Can Marlo come out? Like everybody knows each other. Like these are like when people keep saying like, that's my sister. That's my brother. And I'm like, wait, how many brothers and sisters do you have? No, they really mean it. Like, they may not come out of that vagina like you did, but they are like, that's their boy. Like they will take a bullet for you. You know what I'm saying?
You said that.
But the problem is that when something happens, everybody gets scared. Just like tonight, you try to throw a party, like an event to, I don't want to say celebrate people's lives. I wanted to say like resurrect people's lives. People that may not have hope. We're trying to give them hope, and you have to start somewhere. And tonight, what I believed in was if we could come together and everybody show each other that, hey, I'm here for you. You're here for me. I'm here for you. We're here for each other. Let's go. We're ride or die. Tonight I saw that, and also tonight I didn't see that. But I also can't blame people because if they're scared, this isn't the time to be scared because guess what? I'm a white woman and I'm up in Linmar and I am fighting for you and your kids. So if white people out there are not doing it, I will do it. If it's gonna be a black or a white thing, I'm right here. I'm gonna take a bullet. I don't give a shit. I mean that. If it's a white or a black thing, I'm here. But I mean that. Like, I don't know if it's about race, but whatever it may be, I'm here. I don't care. I want people to really think, though, like when you go to bed at night, like when people say they hear a gunshot, I've never heard a gunshot whenever I've ever slept. But I have heard fireworks, right? So on 4th of July, when I heard fireworks, I'm like, oh my God, is that what people hear in Limmer all the time? Like, is that what people hear in Aliquippa? Because that would scare me to the point that I would call my kid and be like, are you okay? Would you not? I would want to know if my child was okay. So let me ask you a question. When Delsha called her son at 11:48 p.m. on the night that Pew lost his life, 11:48, why wasn't Delsha questioned by the police? Like that she was a co-conspirator in this murder? Listen, ask yourselves this, because I'm gonna put you guys in a real big light here and you guys are gonna be like, oh, I get it. Delsha wasn't called, Delsha wasn't brought to the stand, Delsha wasn't questioned, Delsha was never brought into the station. Why? Because that fucked their case royally. That fucked them royally. Let's just, if Delsha doesn't say anything, then let's act like it never fucking happened. But how about this? Gabby and Brian are all over CNN right now. Do you guys know that case? Two white people. Blonde hair, blue eyes. I think the dude's ugly, but whatever. Point being is his parents are what? Being like brought in, like, what the fuck do you know? Who do you know? What have you done? Who have you called? Did you give your credit card out? All these things. But Delsha isn't even brought onto the stand. She isn't even questioned during discovery. She is never brought into any circumstances where the cops call her. Now, the cops may say, Delsha refused to talk to us. Well, isn't she a smart woman then? But how come she isn't being sought out like Brian and Gabby's parents? Why don't they think that Delsha had something to do with Pew's case like they do Brian and Gabby's? Because it's not about the truth. It's about pinning it on somebody. It's about, we got you, this is over, blah, blah. Well, how many unsolved murders, though, are really in Beaver? There's a shit ton. And my podcast talks about that. But my question is why would this murder need to be solved? Immediately. We're talking about Sheldon in cuffs in 24 hours. We're talking about Jamie Brown in cuffs in less than 48 hours. Beating people to death almost to get them to say, okay, yeah, that's him. Yep, sure, whatever you want me to say, just stop. How is that okay with people? Well, it's not okay with me, and I don't care if people don't want to get behind me, but I believe that I get shit done. Fuck, if I could advocate for Chris Watts, who people fucking hate, all right, and I got him, the best lawyer in town in Colorado, that I think I can get something done for two gentlemen that are actually fucking innocent. How about that? All right, those of you guys that are watching me on YouTube, here it is. I'm going to play you guys something. You guys are going to appreciate it. You guys are going to love it. Your bombshell tonight is, I'm going to make it known so that there's no mistake in here. Season 2 follows the Jamie Brown case. Now, Jamie Brown, for those of you guys that do not know, my at-home audience, this podcast will tell you about Jamie Brown's case. For those of you guys out there that know about Jamie Brown, there is one thing that I want to say to you guys that actually know Jamie Brown. I have two witnesses, at least, that are very, very important to this case, his case, that are actually going to accuse somebody of writing their statement in cursive writing and not them.
Shit, that's all I'm on. Yo, gang shit, that's all I'm on. Nigga, gang shit, that's...
2 witnesses that say, what the fuck is this? I didn't write this. I showed them their police reports. They said, I never wrote this shit. 20 years later, when you just show somebody something and you just, if everybody wants to know what I do, I like literally sit in houses and I sit behind a computer and then I go out and I PI stuff. But I have 2 witnesses right now. They're gonna tell you guys that paper, that they're gonna say that I didn't write that. That's not my handwriting. I didn't write that. What the fuck is this shit? Nobody showed them their statements. Let me explain this. Whenever you go to the police department and you report something and they say make an eyewitness report, has anybody ever said to you, sit down and write your statement? Has anybody ever write a statement down? Have you? Okay, perfect. Well, if you've ever had to write a statement before, you write your statement and then you sign it, correct? Perfect. Well, there are 2 people that after the second or third time that they were interviewed, were asked to write a statement. Those people, have you ever went to the police department and said, hey, can I get my written statement? Can I get a copy of it so I can get a copy of the police report? Have you ever asked? I never have. You never asked, right? So that you have no idea what they would type up, right? So if you write something and you hand it over to a police officer, they then type it all up and they then put it in a file, right? So has anybody ever asked for, hey, can I get my police report that I wrote in? And the answer is no. Everybody that I asked are like, no, I've actually never asked for it. You should. Yeah, you trust them, and you're just like, well, this is my police report. I'm probably on camera. Here you go, right? Well, guess what, guys? Number 101, this is part of my podcast, is if you ever write a police report as an eyewitness or a neighborhood canvas or whatever they want to label it, when you hand it over, you need to say, I'm coming back to get my police report. They usually have it up within 24 to 48 hours. Well, how would anybody up here know to ever do that, right? So what I did is I dug deep and I went to the nitty gritty and I was like, I want to see what people wrote. And then I want to compare it to what the cops wrote. Make sense? Because if I hand you a police report saying, here, this is my police report. Now you're going to go ahead and type it in a computer. Yeah. It should be identical, correct? Right? Well, what if you never asked to see it, so you have no idea, right? And then what if one day, 20 years later, I say to you, hey, did you go and write a police report? And you're like, no, I was just interrogated like a motherfucker. Like they had me, my dad, my mom, we just all sat there, they're like, tell us what you know, what'd you know, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, I said to you, did you ever write anything? Did you ever put anything to paper? No, we told them we didn't know anything. Look how dark it is out here. We didn't see anything. Okay, so you never wrote anything. No, we never. Okay, then I hand you a piece of paper that says, you know what? Grab my book bag. Oh shit, she gonna do it. Oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it. What? Yeah, what? Let me show you guys something because I don't want you guys to think I'm a phony because I always bring the receipts. But if I was to show you something I said that you wrote 20 years ago, and I said, here, check this out. How do you feel about this? Yeah. Come check it out. If I said that this is your handwriting, and you told me it wasn't, how would you feel about it? You guys can come check it out. At the end of the fucking day, My witnesses said, I never fucking wrote that. I didn't write shit.
Play that shit. I'm gonna come on that side.
Moonlight, moonlight, new white chick, moonlight. So look good in the moonlight. All the niggas so bad, moonlight, new white chick, moonlight. So look good in the moonlight. All the niggas so bad, moonlight, new white chick,
You know it has nothing that starts in East right that it says case. That handwriting doesn't match that. No, it doesn't, right? Check this out. I showed him and said, this is your handwriting. He said, Lucia, what is this?
like I'm this. I don't need no fucking rest.
You know what I'm saying? I hustle, baby. I hustle. See? And then that's the best part about it. He said, this is my handwriting. He said, I didn't say any sentences in there. He's like, no. He's like, even though you're trying to be good at it, he wrote it. Wait till you hear my interview. They lie like a motherfucker. Wait for the
All right, here we go. I want you guys to take a look at your phones if you guys are following along. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. All right, go ahead and you can cut it out. All right, here we go. Let's go like this. All right, you can cut it out. Yep, good.
That's so cool.
Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. March 2001.
One suspect is dead, another is on the run, and police warn he is dangerous. A fight outside the bar turned deadly.
Turn up that speaker.
Is it your music? Oh, it's
Yeah, from that.
One person is dead. People shot tonight in Aliquippa, Nebraska. Is dead after a shooting in Aliquippa. Megan Schiller is on with details. Megan?
You put this together?
Yeah.
All by yourself? Oh my god.
Here we go. Let's get buck.
Hey, Andrew, this is Lana Oriani calling. That was my initial phone call to Jamie Brown's attorney, Andrew. Reaching out to him and making it known that not only did I have a podcast that was going to feature Jamie Brown's case, but that also I wanted to help. Welcome to my podcast, Sunset Secrets, and this is season 2, Against All Odds in Aliquippa. I'll be your narrator, Lana Oriani. Welcome. Before I can get into season 2, let's recap season 1 and how I landed in Alco, Pennsylvania, and working on the Jamie Brown case. A nonprofit organization called Fight for a Family. And it is an organization that helps less fortunate families, whether it be financial less fortunate.
I do want to say something. All those faces that you guys did see, those are all the unsolved murders or homicides in Beaver County to this date. So they are part of my podcast, showing that the police department, the law enforcement in Beaver have a lot of things to focus on other than corruption.
Educationally not knowing our rights, things of that nature, during criminal justice proceedings, such as post-conviction, your initial trial. But the thought behind it, and will always be behind it, is that no matter what, everybody deserves a fair trial and everybody has rights in the United States of America.
Yeah, amen!
When I drove to Algoa, Pennsylvania, and met with the uncle of Sheldon Jeter Jr.
Listen up.
We talked a lot.
Listen up.
And I asked him a lot of questions about Sheldon. I wanted to know as much as I could about Sheldon prior to him ever being in handcuffs.
Turn that up by that. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Is that the pictures that he's in with? Any of those small pictures when he was little?
He was the one that stayed there to keep them out on there. He was going to go always want to be. It was rough, so.
That gentleman there again is the uncle of Sheldon Jeter Jr. Many refer to him as Bear. He lost his mother a couple years ago. His father then, Rev. Emmanuel Moreland, suffered 2 strokes. Sheldon Jeter Jr. lived with his grandfather on that house on the street, Orchard Street, in the house where he was arrested.
Sunday, he was there, right back to the house. He would go. That was it. I think about a lot of people.
That's why I think this house that he comes over, and you guys yeah, exactly. And then he was murdered, like literally within hours. Like when you got busy dropped off, he was there within 2 hours. That's what I think of it. Yes, right there you hear Bear and me discussing, as he says, whoever staged this, staged it real good. And that's exactly what they tried to do. And in order to understand that that's even remotely possible, you have to understand Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. And that's why in season 1, we followed in real time the trial of Sheldon Jeter Jr., which took place in June 2021 in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Sheldon Jeter was arrested in May of 2020 for the murder of lifelong acquaintance Tyreek Q. A trial that was expected to last a month long or more only lasted 14 days. A defense team that only called 2 witnesses to stand and only objected 1 time during prosecution questioning.
A few hours ago, this man, Sheldon Jeter, was found guilty in the murder of an Aliquippa man, who was shot several times last year. Victim in the case, Tyreek Q, who was friends with Jeter.
His family was very emotional once the verdict was read, and it comes with a life sentence. 2-year-old Sheldon Jeter Jr. has been found guilty of first-degree murder for the shooting death of his friend, Tyreek Q. In May of 2020, police said Q was found dead lying on Hill Street in Aliquippa after being shot multiple times. The jury reached a verdict this afternoon after starting deliberations yesterday. The district attorney for Beaver County tells me,
This is the most important part of what I'm doing. Please listen to what the district attorney is about to say. This is so important because I'm about to know his ass. See, they're listening.
What?
Look at that delay. Look at that delay.
his family is relieved they got justice.
We're just very pleased with the jury's verdict that came in a moment ago regarding Sheldon Jeter. We want to make sure that the emphasis going forward is a celebration of Tyreek's life
During the trial, the prosecution focused on the evidence in this case, while the defense questioned its accuracy.
There were implications by the defense that there were shortcomings on the part of the investigation. I think the jury answered that question quite sufficiently.
Pennsylvania comes with a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. After the jury read the guilty verdict, we saw some of Jeter's family members crying and gasping in the courtroom. He did not want to talk to us on camera today. Neither did his defense attorney.
Handful burden off of the people of Aliquippa and the families involved in this case. As you know, there's a lot of pressure on the family and on Aliquippa, not just for this case, but for the events that happened before.
Jeter was publicly questioned in the high-profile unsolved case of a Beaver County school teacher, Rachel Del Tondo. She was gunned down in her parents' driveway on Mother's Day 3 years ago. Jeter and Del Tondo were romantically involved. He denied any involvement, was never charged. We did ask the DA, could Jeter's conviction lead to any new progress in the Del Tondo case? In this clip, you heard from Beaver County District Attorney Lozier on June 23rd, 2021, just moments after the verdict was read and Sheldon was found guilty of first-degree murder. In those clips, the DA mentions three very important parts to this case. Number one.
All right, what I'm about to talk about here are the three most important parts of Sheldon's case. The DA shows his hand, and I prove it right here. When he makes three claims. The first that he claims, and I will talk about it here, is that the evidence was questioned by the defense. Then he says, number two, that the jury said, bullshit. We see it, we convict, right? And then the third thing is that, well, you guys can wait for it right here because it's so good. But the best part about it is that, okay, I'll tell you guys. The DA says that this has been a burden on Aliquippa and all the families in Aliquippa for a long time. And I'm like, what the fuck? No offense, but Mr. Pugh was just shot in 2020. How could this murder be a burden on the families of Aliquippa? This just happened. He's literally going to trial within a year of this homicide because it doesn't have to do with Tyreek. That DA literally got on the motherfucking podium and said, today's Tyreek's day. No, the fuck it ain't. And I'm about to prove it because you use your own motherfucking words to say this is not about him. It's about Rachel and the other bullshit that you've been fucking pushing in this fucking town. And I'm gonna let your own words burn the fuck you down. Here it is. Here we go.
One, that the defense was questioning the legitimacy of the evidence in this case. And DA Lozier went on to say that the jurors went ahead and basically answered.
The juror who lives next door to Rachel Del Tondo is deciding my man Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s fate. Get the fuck up out of here. That deserves a 704 if I've never seen one, but guess what, Tesla? I'm going to take you home in a Tesla tonight. I'm toasting that Tesla. The fuck you wear? I'll ride her. I see you, Lynn Mark. No, I don't.
Those questions with a guilty verdict. All due to the high-profile case and unsolved murder of Rachel Del Tondo. Not long after this verdict was read, the nonprofit president, Fight for a Family nonprofit president, and the family hired PI, Lana Oriani. Yes, that's me.
Hired for $0.
That juror number 3 was in fact the neighbor of Rachel Del Tondo. Whether or not the district attorney was aware of those allegations when making his press conference statements, but let's listen again into what he says.
There are implications by the defense that there were shortcomings on the part of the investigation. I think the jury answered that question quite sufficiently.
But again, he thinks the jury answered those questions.
The juror who lives next door to Rachel Del Tondo.
The Tyreek Pugh case, in the words of the district attorney, was not just about the Tyreek Pugh case. Here again, listen.
And the families involved in this case. There was a lot of pressure on the family and on Alabama, not just for this case, but for the events that happened before.
The pressure? Who the fuck is pressuring you, motherfucker? What families are pressuring you? Because you didn't even come and talk to Delsha.
Defense team obtained the information needed, obtained affidavits from numerous people. They went ahead and filed a brief for extraordinary circumstances that was handed to Judge Kim Tesla the day prior of sentencing.
The judge rejected the defense call for a mistrial in this case. The judge then went on to sentence Sheldon Jeter to life in prison without parole for the killing of his friend Tyreek Pugh.
It's bad audio.
It's called for a hearing on what it said was evidence of misconduct by one of the jurors. The juror was talking about individuals during the time of the trial.
These are statements happening by Sheldon's lawyer.
The custody of Beaver County Sheriff deputies. You recall he was considered a person of interest in the unrelated murder of Rachel Del Tondo.
Again, Rachel Del Tondo.
Had a relationship when he was a teen. He was never charged in her killing. Peter's family feels the Del Tondo case was a driving force behind Peter's prosecution in the killing of Tyreek Pugh. We want it. We want to know. Not about him.
Right there you hear from a member of Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s family wanting to know who killed Tyreek after the verdict was read guilty. While I was working on Sheldon's case and continuing to work on Sheldon's case, I made everybody perfectly aware that we have to start back from the beginning. When the possible police corruption, as well as who the ties are, how the webs are weaved in Aliquippa, to get a better understanding and to do a complete new launch of an investigation beginning from the beginning. With that said, Sheldon's mother, Delsha, has been an integral part of me maneuvering around Aliquippa when I've been in town, as well as other family members of Sheldon. To whom it may concern.
All right, this is a very important part of what I've been doing for season 2, which is the Jamie Brown case. Jamie Brown wrote a letter. This is Jamie Brown's words that I am reading tonight. You guys will hear it right here live, but these are the words of Jamie Brown. It was really hard to read because I couldn't imagine being in his shoes. He's done this all by himself. He may have a defense team right now, but since 2001 till right now, you really have to think about he's by himself. Nobody knows, like, the law is a rich man's game. Think about drugs. Think about how much money you make. Now you have to give that to somebody to get your ass the fuck out of prison or jail, okay? Unless you have money, you're not buying drugs. Unless you have money, you're not buying yourself out of prison. Make sense? But listen to this. This is his words. I am reading a letter from Jamie Brown, and this is the reason that I am doing season 2.
I am writing this letter to request your assistance in exposing the injustice of my continued incarceration for a crime I did not commit, as well as aiding and supporting me in obtaining parole, where I'm now 8 months from my minimum sentence of 20 years and refuse to accept responsibility for a crime that I did not commit. As a brief history, on March 17th, 2001, I was arrested along with an individual by the name of A.C. Taylor and charged with criminal homicide and related offenses in connection with the March 15th, 2001 shooting death of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania police officer James Nime. After serving notice that the Commonwealth would seek the death penalty if convicted of first-degree murder, I was tried jointly with Mr. Taylor in the Court of Common Pleas, Beaver County, before President Judge John McBride and a jury. Over the course of several days of testimony, at which time I was prosecuted by the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, the Commonwealth attempted to make its case for first-degree murder by theorizing that I approached Officer Nime while he was on foot patrol in the Linmar Aliquippa housing plan, shooting Officer Nime 2 times. Notwithstanding my steadfast assertions that I had absolutely no involvement in Officer Nime's murder, as well as several types of evidence, which the jury never heard, but which supported that Officer Nime was, in fact, murdered by some...
Guess what, guys? Your girl Lana found 2 jurors. I've been working hard.
What?
I found 2 motherfucking jurors. They are still fucking alive. And they got something to say about this shit. I've been digging. So there are 2 people that are still alive that want to speak on this. So it is actually very important, because those of you guys that watch true crime, Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson case, Scott Peterson got a new trial due to the jurors coming forward and talking about the fact that they were bullied into seeing one thing one way or another. But I have spoken to 2 jurors in the Jamie Brown case, so this is very important.
On May 9th, 2002, the jury returned their verdict, 3rd-degree murder guilty. 20 to 40 years I was sentenced. Following a timely but nonetheless unsuccessful direct appeal to the Pennsylvania Superior Court, I was denied. I have filed numerous state and federal post-conviction appeals, of which all were denied. Jamie goes on in this letter to give all of the appeals and what he was appealing and the information and evidence to support them allowing him to have, an evidentiary hearing, for him to be granted a new trial. Again, everything was denied. I will go into specifics about the different PCRAs as we continue on later on in the stories. But in closing, having been forced to endure more than 18 years...
This part was really hard for me to hear. If you are a human being and you listen to somebody talk, imagine them writing this to you. Just close your eyes, like literally, and just listen to this.
In prison for a crime I did not commit, I am in desperate need of assistance. While I do not profess to be an angel, I did nothing to deserve the injustice brought upon me by those who felt it fit to frame me in a solid attempt to cover their tracks. Meanwhile, I'm actively still fighting for my freedom in the courts today, which the courts seem incapable of doing the right thing, where I have had and found overwhelming evidence of my innocence. They still fight by means unheard of to maintain this conviction. I'm also at the point of preparing to face the parole board, which is another animal of itself, where one of the stipulations in being granted release on parole is to admit to and acknowledge the crime you stand convicted of and serving time for, which under no circumstances will I ever confess or admit to this.
right there, I heard everything I ever needed to know about Jamie Brown when he said, I can get out if I just say I did this. He can leave if he just says I did this. And he refuses to admit that he did something that he did not do. He could literally walk out. He's been there for fucking 20 years and he's like, I'm not saying I did something that I didn't do. If that can't tell you that a man is not innocent, I don't know what can possibly tell you that. I mean, literally, you can walk out. Look at these people closing their doors, putting their lights out. He literally could leave tomorrow if he just said, I'm sorry that I would ever think to do this to somebody. But he refuses to admit that he did something that he did not do. That should tell you everything about Jamie Brown. It told me everything.
Lana, one thing about Jamie Brown, whatever he do, he a stand-up guy. He gonna be the first to admit it.
Yeah, that's. I'm just saying, like he can walk out. He can walk out tomorrow.
He ain't gonna admit to nothing that he ain't do because
He,
like I said,
yeah, he gotta walk. Why? He can walk out tomorrow.
he a stand-up guy.
Therefore,
He'll
without
just sit there.
the much needed overwhelming
He's not
support for
seeing his
parole,
daughter,
I'm subject
his
to
mom,
maxing.
everybody before he lies.
But think about that. He can walk out tomorrow.
He's not gonna do it.
But think about that
He's
though.
gonna stand on the truth.
But think about that. That should tell you why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Complete 40-year sentence.
Like,
No person to be in court and appeal. They can't legally speak to the parole board about the case.
Then show up or show out. I say show up or shut up. That's my saying.
Because those words are legally binding. But nonetheless, parole will not be granted unless pressured to do so by the right people in the places that I so desperately in search of and in need of help from. I have served the time, and only due to being factually innocent is why my relatives still struggle paying for my defense, and is why I remain in prison beyond my minimum sentence before I confess to a crime I'm innocent of. I pray that you will assist me in gaining the freedom rightfully owed to me and to prove my innocence. Please carefully read and review the complete file attached to this letter, which overwhelmingly proves my innocence.
When I saw that letter, though, I need to be honest. When I saw that letter, I was like, that took me back. But then when I actually talked to Jamie, and he was like, bro, like, no way. I was like, how about this? We get you out and we work on it together. You know what I mean? Like, we can like work our way back.
I told you don't go here.
I said,
Oh no.
oh, I'm out. Y'all lost me. I got nothing. Lost my booty on. I made it. I made it. God damn it. Don't make me get nasty on this motherfucker. I just bought that porta potty free and clear. No taxes. They just said, I tell the YMCA to give me that porta potty. Give me that shelter love.
I need to take my pee with me.
Oh, shit. But I'm going to play you guys the last bombshell of tonight because I think it's important. I would never have done this if I ever thought people were guilty. I don't. That's not. I believe in people's rights. I am a very constitutionalist. I do believe in people's rights. And I think that some people don't know about their rights. And if they did know about their rights, like, it matters. For example, if you were to walk across the street and get hit by... What the fuck?
Lost again.
No, that's because you can't fuck with it. It's got our whole DJ system up, man. Without... Don't touch it. Do not touch anything. Come out here. Shit. But let's just use an example though. Let's say that Delsha decides to tackle that porta potty just because fuck she's bored. And the guy gets unconscious, like out of it. That's good. That's what they need. The answer to that would be That is not a crime. I mean, she could tackle a porta potty, right? She didn't know that anybody was in there, but she doesn't know her rights to it. You know what I'm saying? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and be used against you. So if she says, well, fuck, I was pissed at Atlanta and I just tackled that motherfucker, they're gonna be like, no, we just heard she tackled that motherfucker because she was pissed. Then they're gonna blame whoever was in there. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have the right to remain silent, and I truly believe that everybody should invoke their right to remain silent because of the fuckerage that happens, not just here, but everywhere. Right? I mean, how do you feel? If somebody said, you fucked that girl, I'd be like, no, I didn't. 16 people said that. I was like, no, I didn't. I'd be pregnant if that happened. They still talk about it. Can you play a song like a privacy song right now? Can you just play like a big pretty house? No, I don't gotta spit, baby. What? We got the last 20 minutes. The last 20 minutes of the show because guess what? I put Roberts on blast. I put 4 clubs on blast. Yeah. Play me a cop song.
Just like some like
Don't you forget, I ride Benzes and Porsches, no time to sit. I would not take a pussy, that's a no can do. Because where I was raised, that's what no man do. I got banging bitches and
get low. Yeah, get low. Is that Lil Jon?
Okay, here we go. Dallas, that's for you, right here. It's for you. Hello! Okay. Dancing fine. I got 10 minutes, 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes, and I'm going to drop the truth about the cops up in Aliquippa. Just so we know that.
What?
What?
You hear that? What happened? Oh.
Yeah?
So great, so good. Then you go there with the boomerangs and me in the mind. This beat just fine. I'm paid to the bill. Gotta put the left time. Then I play with your band in line. The girl wanna see I need it gone down. Security guard knows I'm in there. Put my truck down the bar, pop up throw me now. See me jumping the door, I miss you go. And when I like it, I'm busy there, bro. Taking the clothes off, fucking naked. And you in the hole, don't disrespect me. I'll pop your pussy like this. Taking like crazy, see I is your young inside boy rich. And we all like to see ass and titties. Look on your ass over here, ho. And let me see you get low. You won't get thug, now take it through. I put a lay your ass on the ass. Then you can keep your ass where you at. 3, 6, 9, 10, 1, 9. You can sing it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low, get low, get low. So I need a warm up, I beg her after warm up. Big time sinner, I'm a head on the come up. I beat the pussy drummer, I roll up no more drummer. She give me what I wanna. Boss, so I need a warm up, I beg her after warm up. Big time sinner, I'm a head on the come up. I beat the pussy drummer, I roll up no more drummer. Super song, dummy shit in a special nigga. Pocket so fat that I need barely total finish. He's so fat I hit the pedal with an engine. V12 back in 12 like license suspended. She's a swabber, all on my knob on a carbon. Sweet thing, and that pussy tastes like peach cobbler. I'm a Never ever take her to me, mom. Got a lineup and just added 2 more to my lineup. Big money, why you always sending in your wallet? Profit, I just made another one, I'm college. Sorry, bitch, ask me what I do with my sex. Voting wall for a plaques and a new bra for some snaps. She give me what I want. Boss so her need a warmer. I back that at the Walmart. Big time stunner, I'm a hand on the come up. I beat the pussy drummer. I roll up no more drama. She give me what I want. Boss so her need a warmer. I back that at the Walmart. Big time stunner, I'm a hand on the come up. I beat the pussy drummer. I roll up no more drama. Ask my mama for bread, she told me that's the day I wanna to get my bread up. T-shirt, you know, with the coupe running won't be long. Chinese food one time, I might go try that one time. I pull out in the front time, my new boss gets Spanish. I got twice Spanish, my BBS is China. Got the bitch in Chanel and told her it's a handout. Old school up and down, but you still wanna buy one.
Oh my God, where you at? Bring it back. Oh my God, where you at, Taylor Swift? Can you play me some Taylor? You need to calm down. Hey guys, we're having some fun. Break it up, break it up. What? 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 I want to hear some Taylor Swift in this motherfucker. I said sit on what? I said sit down. Sit down, ho. Sit down, ho. Sit down, ho. I just want to play this shit, motherfucker. Why not watch it? Yeah, play that. Carrie Hilson.
Yes, go. Like that. You see what she got on?
Alright. What? We're gonna just calm down. Yeah, snap your fingers. I love it. Behind the stage all day. What? I wouldn't know what she was without you. What? Can you rewind it back? Ready? Whoa! Oh, where's my girl? Where's my girl? Hi, baby girl. Oh, good love on me. Oh, that feels so good. What?
Do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom. I'm sorry. I've been moving from a trouble.
Get low! Get low! I got her ass against So the titties to the flow, step the titties to the flow, get you low. Oh, love you guys, mean it. Step your what? Look at that full moon. When you got the best, you party with the best. You know, hold on. Backstage style, hold on. I got up out of my recliner.
She say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom. I'm sorry.
Oh, step your titties.
81, they'll bring the pressure to the party. Hey, you know me. Turn the 02 into the 03. Without play, Holly, if you know me. Imagine if I never made it.
God, I love him. Where you at? All right, here we go. All right, guys, here we go. It's important. Here we go.
No one cares to realize 6/12/2020. Very truly yours, Jamie Brown. And this is where Sunset Secrets 2 begins. On May 21st, 2001, a couple different officers and troopers all proceeded to the Alva Police Department, at which time they met with several police officers then at the department. Also present were Deputy Attorney General Linda Barr and Beaver County Assistant District Attorney Kim Tesla.
Okay, so what they are talking about at this moment is that Officer 9 was shot March 15th of 2001. This happened then, this little event of them gathering together happened almost 2 months after that. This is very important because it's part of the investigation.
Addressed the officers initially and instructed them of the importance of submitting police reports to indicate what involvement each officer had in this case. The officers were then spoken to individually and asked about his or her involvement on the day of the shooting, as well as any other further involvement in which they would have been involved in any incidences that day. Each officer was then asked to prepare a report detailing his or her respective activities. To date, police reports have been received from the following Aliquippa police officers: Chief William Alston, Sergeant Roberts, Sergeant Dan Cassidy, Sergeant Douglas Edgell, Patrolman Sonia Carter, Patrolman Lemon, Patrolman Robert Chamberlain, Patrolman Mark Young, Patrolman Schaefer, Patrolman Sean Young, PCO Shawnee Lee.
Okay. I'm stopping this because it's very important. I want you guys to come up and see. I have the crime scene tape line. That means if you were on duty, that means you had to cross over and come into the crime scene. I want you guys to come and see the crime scene. Come on.
Yes, look at it.
Come on.
This is deep. Check it out.
Okay. So what this means. See this right here? This is a crime scene log. You see that? So that means the date and time that you stamped in. See that? It has the time. See all that? And then this is the second page of it, okay? I want you guys to take a look, and you guys can see that I'm not bullshitting when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. Okay, you guys can check it, take it over yourselves. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys to come back up when I say some things, and then you guys can see that what I say is factual, because it's very important to his case, to Jamie Brown's case.
This report was dated 6/6/2001. The meeting occurred, though, May 21st, 2001. So this would have been...
All right, so Officer 9 was shot March 15th of 2001. Judge, who was back then a prosecutor, Kim Tesla was a prosecutor back then, now a judge for Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s case. Linda Barr, and judge, aka Kim Tesla, prosecutor at the time. They have a meeting, a private meeting with the Aliquippa Police Department to tell them that they need to get their shit together. Now watch this.
Two months after the murder of Officer 9. The first report, Officer Sergeant Stephen.
So as you guys are following along, this is very important. These are the two reports. These are the two reports of the day of the crime. These are the two reports from the three officers that were up here. This is kind of important.
Officer Roberts was interviewed at Aliquippa Police Department on 3/22/2001 at approximately 10:21. Roberts is a 3-year veteran of Aliquippa Police Department and an 8-year law enforcement veteran. He was working the evening the victim was killed. He also had authorized a zone shift change assignment for the victim for that night. He advised that on the weekend of 3...
I want to make this perfectly clear. This is very important. He authorized a zone shift change, not a shift change. In his police report, he authorized a zone shift change. That does not mean that Officer 9 and Carter they did not switch shifts. They switched zones. Is that clear? So people need to stop talking about that Sonia Carter was not working that night. People need to pay attention to the words that are in the documents. It's very, very important. Sonia Carter was working the night that Officer 9 was killed. Does everybody understand that? People have been saying for 20 fucking years that her and Officer 9 switched shifts. That is not true. What is fact is that Sonia Carter and Officer 9 they switched zones. Does that make sense?
No.
It doesn't make sense? There's like 7 shifts in 2001 that would have taken place. And why don't you listen?
10/2001 is when he had made the shift changes. He advised that he was scheduled to work 3 to 11 on Wednesday, 3/14, but he had training to attend that day
Can you
So
close
he
that
put
door?
the victim into this assignment. The victim saw that he was scheduled 3 to 11 for the 3:14 shift and told Roberts that he could not make that shift because he had training that day in Greensburg. This training was separate from what Roberts had scheduled. Because of this, Roberts put Officer Sonia Carter.
I got to see Officer Roberts today, by the way. Just so you guys know, he came up here in a cop car, black, marked. He just wanted to talk to Delsha. But I got to witness Officer Roberts. I thought that he had retired, so I do want to make this known that I guess Officer Roberts is still on staff. And I cannot wait to hear what the fuck he has to say.
On the 311 shift working the Linmar Terrace zone. Victim Naim volunteered to take the Linmar 311 shift for 3/15/2001 because Officer Carter had taken his shift on 3/14. He repeated that Carter had not requested this change and that everything was agreeable to the.
The thing that I think is very interesting here that Officer Roberts is making known, which you guys can see here in the documents, in the reports, is that he is drawing extra attention to the fact that everybody in this development, everybody since the past 20 years thinks that Officer Carter and Officer Naim switched their shifts. You guys know that did not happen, right?
Wait, the night he got murdered?
The night that he was murdered, there was no switch of shifts. Sonia Carter was scheduled to work and still scheduled with Officer Naim. You guys know that?
He just didn't come to work.
No. She came to work and he came to work. She was up in Linmar up until 7:45.
Oh, okay.
But let me ask you a question. If Sonia Carter is up here until 7:45, she's in suit. I want you to come back up here and look at the sign-in log, and I want you to show me where Officer fucking Sonia Carter signed in.
Did you highlight everybody from Alcoa?
No. I just highlight a couple different things. Sonia Carter never signed in, neither did Doug Edgell. We'll get to all of this, but I want you guys to show me if I missed it, which I'm going to tell you I didn't, but I want you guys to tell me if I did. You tell me where Sonia Carter, who was in Linmar, seen by Darnell Hines in his statement, and she corroborated that. Corroborated that. I had to. What happened? Did she corroborate that at 7:45? Nope. She's nowhere to be seen. I don't. Do you see Sonia Carter in that bitch?
She's not on there at all.
Where the fuck is Sonia Carter? She's working.
Where's Waldo?
Where's Sonia? Where the fuck is Sonia Carter? Now how about this? We'll play another game. We'll play one more game. Where the fuck is Doug Edgell in this motherfucker? Where's he? Show me his name.
I ain't see him either.
Nobody's in there because guess what they did?
He working in Ambridge though.
They're here. They were here. They were in Linmar. I have an eyewitness putting him in the Linmar store when they got this sound out. Officer down, officer down, officer down. Doug Edgell runs out of Linmar store. I have an eyewitness that's telling me that Doug Edgell ran out of the Linmar store when they heard, officer down, officer down. But guess who took his spot, which I don't understand. Why would Robert say that he was in the Linmar store when he heard officer down, officer down? Nobody thought they could connect the dots. 20 years later, your girl did. Watch me prove it. It's fucking live. It's sick
Roberts
shit.
advised that on the night of the shooting, Sergeant Cassidy was the senior officer and was in command of the shift. He was riding with Officer Sean Young in car 514. Roberts was assigned roving patrol in car 522, that is also known as the blue unmarked unit. Victim 9 was operating car 512, and was assigned the Linmar and Griffith Heights housing projects. Officer Sonia Carter was assigned Zone A.
Did you just hear that? Officer Sonia Carter assigned Zone motherfucking A. I'm gonna play it back if you want to hear it. They did not switch shifts, motherfuckers. Open up your windows. This is very important to bring Jamie Brown the fuck home. Sonia Carter was working. They did not switch shifts. Where is Sonia Carter on this crime scene? She left, just like Doug Etchell. They left Linmar after they, I don't know what, maybe they were banging.
Officer Robert Sealock was assigned Zone B. Officer Milton Ford was in Zone C. And Traffic Officer Robert Chamberlain was assigned Traffic Detail. Traffic Detail is usually for part-time officers, and they only do traffic stops and accidents. They normally do not answer any type of other calls.
Shit, go over there. Go do this. Hold on.
Robert does not recall if he saw the victim that evening before the start of their shift.
Watch
He
this.
knows
This is amazing.
that he did not talk with him prior to the shift. He advised that he had not had any radio conversation.
All right, just so we're clear here, I am reading Officer Roberts' report. And what I'm about to show is that Officer Roberts' report is false. Please sit. This is very important if you want to bring home Jamie Brown. Watch this, or I should say, listen to this.
Here we go.
With him after he started his shift. Roberts advised that he had been on station, that would be the Alva Police Department on Franklin Avenue, and around the time of the incident, he decided to go and get coffee.
So Roberts is saying this. Roberts is at the police department down on Franklin. You guys know where we're at right now, right? Roberts is writing in his report that he is down on Franklin. When he gets in his vehicle, he hears shots fired. Not officer down, but shots fired. Make sense? He hears the shots fired. Does that make sense? So Officer Roberts is down by his post at Franklin. Not up here, right?
He got in the patrol car, heading out to get coffee, when he heard the call go out that shots had been fired in the Linmar Terrace. He then heard radio traffic that the victim could not be located. He advised that the victim was in a radio car and had a hand.
So on the way up, you're telling me he heard shots fired? You guys know it takes like 3 minutes to get from here to there. Come on. He heard shots fired, and then we can't find the victim. That means, why are you guys even looking for Naim at the time? Does that make sense? Why would you be looking for Naim after shots been fired? Why wouldn't shots be fired on you or you or you or you? Why would shots be fired on the goddamn police officer? Make sense? Why would anybody be looking, if you're a cop, for the officer to be down, not somebody else that lives in this area? Make sense? So he tells me he gets in his car and he's driving and he hears shots been fired. We're looking for Officer Naim, like within the 3 minutes of which he gets the fuck up here, right? Like that's what he's trying to tell us. And I said, that is fucking impossible. Why the fuck? Who's telling him shots been fired and then we're now looking for an officer that we can't fucking find? Think about that. That makes no motherfucking sense, right? So everybody thinks that Too Sweet did this. y'all need to listen up because Too Sweet didn't do shit. He pussied the fuck out because he couldn't fucking pay somebody because nobody would take his 10 or 20 the fuck grand to kill nobody. And when Too Sweet couldn't pull this shit off, guess what? The cops had to buckle up. And that's what happened up here. The cops did this and I'm about to prove it.
Radio with him. It was also where that Sergeant Cassidy had been requested to give the victim a telephone call, but decided to go up to the substation rather than calling him. When he heard that they could not raise the victim on his radio, Roberts...
Let's ask one more question. How many officers do you see guys up here? I see 0. None. Why the fuck is every fucking cop on duty that night the fuck up in Linmore? Sonia Carter was up here. I can prove it with my reports. Sealock was up here. Roberts was up here. Edgel was up here. Who else was up here? Well, let's just fucking look at the reports. How the fuck is Raccoon Department up here before Aliquippa? How about that one? Jones was up here. Anderson was up here. Martin Carr. I mean, everybody and their motherfucking mother was up here. Edgel's not up here. Sonia Carter's up here. And they just said, just act like we didn't work that night. Okay, well then who worked Zone A? Who worked Zone A? Because it was not Officer 9. Officer 9 was working the Linmar Griffith Heights. So who the fuck worked Zone A if it wasn't Officer Sonia Carter? And the only hope, in my opinion, to bring Jamie Brown the fuck home tomorrow is if Sonia Carter speaks, because she knows it all. I'm gonna prove it all, but I am not the judge and jury, but I will prove it all to when I dug through the discovery for hours upon hours. But I can prove that during your like the guy you said Donnie. I was like, who the hell is Donnie? I was like, oh my God, now I know why the fuck he beat his ass. Because he saw Sonia Carter. And Sonia Carter was supposed to see. She was supposed to be seen because after the fact they try to say that they switched the shifts. That's not the truth. The truth is that she was working and everybody was working. But why isn't Sonia, what do you mean? She was at the substation at 7:45. The shift change happens at 3, so there's no shift change. Like, you either work 3 to 11, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just lying now. Yeah, now we fucking you up. No wonder you're not a cop no more. I'm just saying, like, she's lying. But I just hope that she comes, like, she knows the truth. If there is anybody out here that knows the truth, I promise you guys there was one person. And I'll shut it off right now because I'll be real with Eloquent.